Good day, class. This video is going to take you through the instructions for the capstone proposal. We are going to look at 6 steps, and step 5 is the most intensive step. So what you have to do, step 1, is please identify an opportunity. So you and your group would have to come together and search for opportunities. So you can look for trends, and trends can mean any political trend, legal trend, economic trend, so pestle, or if there is a gap in the marketplace or any unsolved problem. In other words, you're looking for some need, some established need. So the first step is for you to identify an opportunity. You can also look to see if you can improve something that already exists. In other words, you would like to make that better. And also, opportunities can be identified based from your work experiences or even your hobbies. The next step is also to conduct a self-evaluation, and that will be an evaluation of the members of the group. Honestly, evaluate yourself to decide what you are passionate about and whether you possess the resources needed to succeed. In other words, you don't want to pursue an idea or pursue an opportunity that you're not passionate about and that you have limited access to certain resources, such as the physical resources or even the intangible resources, like having access to persons in the field that you can consult with and so on. So conduct a self-evaluation. And step 3, this is where you will actually sit down and brainstorm and generate ideas for a product, a new product, or a new service. Okay, so this is a very important step. So you and your group can come together, you all can conduct research, you all can sit down and brainstorm and basically record your ideas on a sheet of paper, but brainstorm and generate as many ideas as possible. Okay, basically you would want your idea to be for the product or service to be a solution to a problem, and it must be derived, it must be connected to the opportunity identified in step 1. Please ensure that your idea is innovative, because in this course, in a capstone proposal, it is mandatory for innovation to be a feature of your business. You can either invent something, or it doesn't have to be an invention. You can also extend other products that already exist by extending the line or even new formats, making, in other words, looking at a different version or a different way in which a product can be offered to customers. You can duplicate already existing ideas by simply modifying them, or you can take 2 or more ideas or concepts that already exist and join them to create one idea. For example, in synthesis, I saw the product of the tread climber came out recently, that was launched, and that was a product that synthesized the idea of the treadmill and the stair climber from the gym. So 2 products joined into one. Alright, another example, like for extension, you can look at the idea of laundry detergent. So over the years we are accustomed with the laundry detergent offered as soap powder, and now there's a new format where it's offered as liquid detergent. So you see simple ways to innovate products and services. You can also generate ideas by using this technique called Scamper. So you can take your time and read through this table, but basically you're going to see that you can look at ideas, look at products, and see how you can substitute part of those products. You can see how you can combine ideas, adapt certain things, modify, put to other purposes. All of these are basically techniques that you can use so that you can create a new product or create a new service that will be connected to the opportunity identified in step 1. Now, after you have identified as many ideas as you can, you and your group should come together and identify your 3 top ideas. You're going to have to reduce those ideas. Alright? So even if you came up with 15 ideas, it's going to be difficult for you to evaluate all 15 ideas. So really, you want to reduce those ideas to at least, your top 3 ideas or your top 3 to 5 ideas, right? And choose ideas in which you have looked at the table we did before, which is the scamper. Alright, ensure you're passionate about the idea. All group members must be passionate, and that the ideas are aligned to both your passion as well as the resources, as well as, the knowledge you feel that you would be able to have access to. Alright, it is important for you to choose an idea because you're going to have to work with this idea from now till the end of the semester, and you're going to have to be able to implement this idea. So reduce your ideas to around 3 ideas or so, and that would take care of step 3. Step 4, with those 3 ideas, you now should conduct a quick screen. Now a quick screen is a quick evaluation of the 3 ideas, and you do so that you would be able to identify your one top idea that you would like to work on, and in order to decipher if that idea will be feasible or not. So we call it the quick screen. It's one of the first tests that an entrepreneur usually would take in contemplating or in measuring the risk, or in terms of understanding whether they want to pursue that idea or not. So in looking at the first screen, in terms of how do you evaluate those 3 ideas, you want to think about the market opportunity. You want to look at your competitive position, and some of these questions you can ask yourselves. Alright, look at the customer related issues, look at the founder related issues. Do you have any experience? What skills can you contribute? And think about the financial issues as well, whether if you have access to the startup capital. Alright, whether if you think that if you invest that money, what kinds of returns will be given for that type of business if that idea is to be executed. So really think through these elements before you conduct the first screen or the idea evaluation for each idea. Once you think through those, you have given those elements proper thought, I'll ask you now to complete the following table for your 3 ideas or your 5 ideas. Alright, but the intention is to really complete it for 3 ideas. So this is the table. This is the idea evaluation table, and as you can see, the table records the opportunity and it also records the risk involved in the idea. So you would have to rank the opportunity and rank the risk. Now the scoring system, as you're seeing here, is from 0 to 5. Look at the scoring system. 0 means it's absent, 1 is poor, 2 is fair, 3 is average, 4 is extremely high. 0 is absent, 1 poor, 2 fair, 3 is average, 4 is high, and 5 is extremely high. And under the opportunity, you're going to rank each of these elements in the range of 0 to 5. So for example, if the market demand you feel based on your group interaction and discussion would be extremely high, you would put the number 5. If however, in terms of the resources, you think that access to the resources right now is not so easy to come along, then maybe you would put 1 for poor or even 2 for fair. So in other words, I want you to rank the opportunity given the scale or the scoring system. You also complete that for the risk. So if the risk is extremely high, in other words, if competition is extremely high, you'd give it a number 5. Or if the market conditions are kind of risky, you're unsure as to whether the market would be sustainable or the market size is large enough, you may want to give it, the risk would therefore be high, so you will give it like a 4 or a 5. Alright, let's say that in terms of market acceptance, the risk is low, because you believe that your product would be easily accepted. You can probably rate it as a 1 or 2. And final example, for the ease of startup, let's say for the resources, you think that, or you and your group members feel that it's difficult to find resources, it's very risky, it's only a few suppliers with those needed resources, then the risk would be high, and hence you would want to give it a 4 or a 5. So let's look at the table, a filled out table, to see what it looks like. So let's say for a given idea, we put some random figures here where each of the elements was scored 1 to 5, 0 to 5. So you take the column of the opportunity and you add everything and you total that. So in this column here, the opportunity that you're seeing here, 5 plus 3 plus 5 plus 3 and so on, gives you a total of 30. And so too for the risk. So you add up all the scores given in the risk section, and in this case you get 20. And what you do for this particular idea is that you now have to look at the idea potential. So the formula for idea potential is opportunity minus risk. So in this case, opportunity is 30 and risk is 20. So the idea potential is 30 minus 20 gives you 10. So you complete this table for 3 ideas, and each idea you may have gotten a different idea potential score. So idea 1, let's say you got 10, idea 2, let's say you got a 15, and idea 3, when you did the ranking, let's say you got a 12. Okay, what idea or which idea there you think got the highest score? So in this case we would say idea 2, because ideas 2 we assume ranked at 15. So if that got the highest score, we're going to use that idea now for the other steps to be completed in this assessment. So for the idea that you got the highest score on, what you're going to have to do in step 5 is complete something called the really big idea sketchpad, and then you're going to have that sketchpad is going to be critiqued by numerous persons, and you're going to complete the critique pad. So there are 2 things that we have to do in step 5. Complete the idea sketch pad and then complete the critique pad. Now this involves 10 steps. It's a lot of back and forth correspondences. So let's actually see what this involves. In the next slide, I'm going to show you what the idea sketch pad looks like. Pretty much, you're going to have to produce an idea sketch pad. Alright, so you can actually draw it out in a big Bristol board sheet, or you can do it in an actual sketch pad paper, whatever you would want to do, but you have to complete an idea sketch pad where you would sketch your idea and you're going to fill out certain sections or answer certain questions about that idea. And that will be your first version of the sketchpad. Once the sketchpad is completed, step 2, you have to go and present the sketchpad to an industry expert. So in other words, you're going to have to go to speak to somebody that's in the world, in the field of business. In other words, if you, let's say your idea is in is in the food and beverage industry, then you will have to go and try to contact some business owner in the food and beverage industry. You could probably try to contact the owner of some like Kiss Bakery or SMG or other businesses that has a lot of experience. Alright, so contact somebody that is considered an expert in that field. Alright, and present your sketchpad to them. Present that sketchpad to them. So you're going to carry the sketchpad and actually present it to them. When you have presented their sketchpad, these industry experts are now allowed to criticize your idea. So they are going to give you comments. In other words, they're going to highlight what they think how they think your idea is actually valuable and what are the weaknesses of your idea. So they're going to critique your idea. Alright? And you're going to ask them on the critique pad that I showed you from before, alright, that I mentioned before, to score, to place some scores on your critique pad. So I'll show you how to do that shortly. So they're going to critique your idea, and you're going to plot their scores on the critique pad. So they're going to give you scores. Once that is complete, you're going to take the idea sketch pad that you have created, and you're going to modify the idea sketch pad based on the critique and comments you had received from that person from the industry. Now usually the way how the idea sketchpad is created, you would actually put lots of the information using stuck on post-its. So basically you can take some post-its and stick it on your sketchpad with all of your information, so that if it is you have to change anything, all you need to do is remove the post-it and replace it with a brand new one with the changes. Alright, so however you decide, modify the sketchpad based on the comments you receive. So now you would have a second version of the sketchpad. The next round is where you present that new sketchpad, the version 2 idea sketchpad, to either a lecturer or somebody in the education domain. So you can look for a teacher, you can look for a lecturer, some academic. It doesn't have to be from COSTAT, but you want to present it to them, preferably someone who teaches in business. Alright, or if not business, then connected to the field in which you are in the idea that, you know, in the field that is related to the idea that you have selected. After you have presented the idea sketchpad to the lecturer, the next step is again doing the same thing. Have them critique your idea sketchpad. Have them further critique it. And then based on their comments, you plot their scores on your critique pad again. And again, based on the ideas you got from them, modify the sketchpad so that you would have a third version of the idea sketchpad. You know, so again you're going to get the comments from the lecturer, and you would have to make the changes accordingly. And the final step is you present version 3 idea sketchpad to the class. Now because it's an online class, you and your group would have to produce a 3-minute video presentation. So you could probably stick up your third idea sketchpad on the wall and have somebody tape you with your phone. Alright, or you can probably do it through PowerPoint. You have to find out ways in which you can make your video presentation. Right, but make a presentation of your third version of your idea sketchpad and upload the video into YouTube. If you don't have a YouTube account, you will have to create one so that you'll be able to post the link into the e-classroom. Alright, so instructions would actually be given to you in terms of when this is due, and you know, how it would be, where it will be uploaded into the e-classroom. But for now, ensure that you and your group will have to come together by the third round and produce a 3-minute video presentation of your idea sketchpad. Once the video is uploaded into the e-classroom, I will have to ask another group from the class, alright, to critique your idea. So they will be the third group of persons who would criticize your idea. Alright, so I would assign the groups. Alright, once the groups are finalized by Friday of this week, I would assign which group will be allowed to critique the other group and so on. Okay, but one group from the class would be allowed to criticize your idea, and the final round is where, given the criticism you receive from your group members in class, alright, from the other group members in class, that is, alright, you and your group will now have to make the final modification to your idea sketchpad. So you're going to have a version 4. It will be the final edit to your idea sketchpad, and you want to ensure that your idea reaches the big value zone, and I'll show you what that means. So let's see what the idea sketchpad looks like. This is the link. You can type this into your browser and you'll be able to get a copy of the idea sketchpad. I'm also going to upload a PDF file of it, so you'll see it in the e-classroom as well. So this is what it's going to look like. You want to record the name of your idea in this bar and just fill out all of the sections. So for this question here, who are the people involved in starting this venture? So you could stick a post-it note right here and you actually list the names of the persons. Usually it would be your group members, and if there are anybody that is external, you include their names here as well. And you put again answers to these questions. What experience do they bring to the table? What specific knowledge do they bring to the table as well? So stick these things with your post-it notes. Alright, so you continue. The customer. Who is the user or the beneficiary? You put who the customers are, identify if there's a particular target market. How does the user use your offering? So you explain what it is, how they would be able to use your product. Alright, the offering really means your product or your service. So you answer each of these questions in these blocks and stick post-it notes where you fill out the information. Alright, so I will just jump to offering now. Right, what type of offering is envisioned? This is where you explain what it is, if it's a good, a service, a commodity. Alright, describe it, name it, and in this section here you are allowed to sketch it. Right, so sketch your idea, sketch if it's a product, sketch what it is, even if it's a service, sketch it. Right, so you are going to fill out each of these boxes by reading the information, right, and use post-it notes to be stuck on each of the placement holders that you're seeing here. Okay, and just as we looked at before, when you create the first version of this and you make the presentation to the very first person in the sequence, which is the industry expert, when they give their comments, let's just say that, for example, they think that you need an extra person in the team, or they don't have enough experience, and hence they are giving you a comment or an improvement. Your second version of this sketchpad now would be the improved version. So this is where you would revisit these areas, rethink the people, rethink the customers, rethink your core competencies, and modify accordingly. Either you can add in information into the post-it notes or remove them and put brand new ones. So that is how you're going to create new versions of the idea sketchpad. Now let us discuss the really big idea critique pad. Remember that I said that each time you present the idea sketchpad, it would have to be critiqued, and then the criticism would be plotted on a pad. This is the pad that we are speaking about. Now if you look at this pad here, the pad measures impact and the pad measures feasibility. Alright, so let's take this slowly. Impact equals customer C multiply by VP, and VP is value proposition. Now all of these variables, customer, value proposition, OCC, which is offering and core competencies, and P, which is the people, they are all recorded in the idea sketchpad under the circles. You're going to see them. This was just derived from the idea sketchpad, but we want to measure it. We're going to ask the industry experts to rate each of these variables. So step one in completing this critique pad is you put the name of your idea, step one. Have the reviewer place their name here as well, whether if it's the industry expert or the class group, or even the third person, which is the academic or the lecturer. Alright, and then ask them to rate your customers, and it's easy. Let's look at the first one. I believe the venture choice of customer would lead to significant value creation. If they believe that it would lead to significant value creation, then it would score either as an 8, a 9, or a 10, something of the higher end. Alright, so basically the scores in this section is 1 would be very low or poor or not very significant, and 10 would be of high significance. Okay, so let's say in this example 8 was scored. Alright, so a score of 8 was placed for customer. Let's see for the value proposition. Right, so the person that you gave the presentation to, they would now have to score this again. So they're going to state what if they believe the value proposition would lead to significant value creation. If they believe it is highly valuable, then they would give you a number 8, a 9, or 10 accordingly. So in this example, it was given an 8. So how do you measure the impact? Look at the impact here. Impact equals C multiplied by VP. So in this case, C is 8 and VP is 8. So you simply put it into 0.8. Alright, so 0.8, which is here, right? So turn it into a decimal, multiply by 0.8, which is here, gives us an impact of 0.64. So you calculate that and leave that right there. So basically you're multiplying C by VP. And then you repeat that for the feasibility. And the feasibility is OCC multiplied by P. So in this case, they gave the OCC a score of 10. So 10 would be 1. Right? And that is the only one that's where you will get a whole number. All the others would actually be points. So this would be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, and so on. This one would actually be 1. Alright? So in this case, 10 would be equal to 1. And if your lecturer or your industry expert, let's say, give you a 5 for the right people, then that would be 0.5. So your feasibility is equal to 1.01 multiplied by 0.05. OCC, which is 10 or 1, multiplied by P, which is 0.5. And that gives you a total of 0.5. Once you get the two scores, the score for impact and the score for feasibility, you're going to have to plot it now in this sketch pad right here. So let's look at the sketch pad here now. This is impact, so this measures what you get for impact, this line here, and the horizontal line measures the feasibility. So the vertical line is impact, the horizontal line is feasibility. So let's look at the vertical line. Impact equals 0.64. So we check in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So because it's 0.64, we have to go a little more above, 6. So around here we would say is 0.64. Alright? But you also have to plot the feasibility. In this case we had gotten 0.05. So let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this here is 0.5, sorry. So you'd simply take the 2 points and plot until, basically where the 0.64 meets the 0.5, and this would be the point in the value zone, alright, in the feasibility / impact zone that you would have gotten from your first person who would have given you the critique. Alright, now because you would be presenting your idea sketchpad and having 3 groups or 3 separate persons giving you criticisms, then you're going to have 3 plots. So let's see what that looks like. So your first presentation with your version 1 idea sketchpad, the critique from the idea, let's just assume that you get a score that is somewhere down here. You make the changes in your idea sketchpad, you have version 2. Alright, so in other words, your idea should be a little better. And then version 2 now would be presented to the lecturer. And then the lecturer would critique it. And then based on their impact and their feasibility, let's assume that, it lies somewhere here. Okay? You make the modifications, you have version 3 of your idea sketchpad. That is also presented to the class. The class would give their criticism, or the group per se, the group that you that I would assign you to give the criticism, and then you get the final plot here. So have each person or each category of individuals criticisms to be plotted in this diagram. All right, so this is your first critique, this would be a second critique, and this would be a third critique that you would receive. So plot each and ensure that by the end, but because of all the various rounds of criticisms that you're going to receive, at the end you really want your idea to resonate somewhere inside of this big value zone. Once your idea is somewhere inside of here, it means anywhere in here, it means that you have a idea that has good potential. So what is the final step? Once you have completed all 10 rounds that we saw from step 5, all right, complete the idea submission form at the back of the course outline. So fill that out. You're going to get that from the course outline, print it out, or you can type on it, recreate it and type on it. Attach the idea evaluation tables that you would have done for your 3 to 5 ideas from step 4. That was your opportunity and risk table, right? So if you did it for 3 ideas, I want to see 3 tables, right? Attach the final idea sketchpad. That is the one that you would have modified based on all of the critique that you got, and also attach the critique pad with the plotted scores of the 3 groups of persons that you had to speak to, right? So in other words, your final critique pad would look like the one that was presented in the slide prior. So I want to see the plot of the lecturer, I want to see the plot of the industry expert, and I want to see the plot of the classmate or of a group. All right, so all of these three things here, the idea submission form, the idea evaluation table, the sketch pad, and the critique pad, would be combined in one document and submit to the e-classroom. So that is it for the capstone proposal. It's a lot of work for 10%. Do not forget to take photos of each presentation made. In other words, when you go to speak to the industry expert and you're presenting your idea sketchpad to them, get a photo of that. When you're presenting it to the lecturer, get a photo of that. Alright? Because later on, I mentioned to you in the summary that you need photos or evidence of your journey of this course, because that will be captivated in the portfolio assessment. So start collecting these pieces of evidence from now, so that you will not have gaps in your portfolio. So I'll give you instructions for the portfolio assignment in our next session, but for now I'm asking you to please take photos of your actual presentations and keep it, file it. You can name it as presentation made to industry experts and so on, alright, because that is going to be used in your portfolio assessment. Alright, so this is your assessment number 1, capstone proposal. Good luck, have fun.